This sound is coming from a pipe, a 30-inch underwater oil pipe, where 5 people have drowned forcefully. Suddenly, a water cyclone has pulled them into the pipe at lightning speed. Everyone was stuck there for 2 days. The pipe was full of crude oil. Surprisingly, everyone outside hears the voices of asking for help. But no one comes to rescue them. It's strange, right? Plus, everything was being recorded in the camera, which tells us precisely its detailed story. And the things that are revealed further, it was unbelievable. To which I will let you know, just wait and watch. February 25th, 2022, a regular day for 5 experienced divers in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is a country about 10 kilometers away from Venezuela. Kazim Ali Jr., Yusuf Henry, Faisal Karwan, Rishi Nagasar, and Chris Boudram were 5 experienced divers. And their job was to fix and maintain the unused pipeline for Peria Fuel Company, a very large government-owned fuel company. They had to work on a pipeline, which was basically a U-shaped pipeline, which had 2 openings, berth 6 and berth 5. The oil was refined from the oil rig to berth 6. And in the second opening, berth 5, the oil was taken out of the cargo ship and then transferred ahead. Their work was near the opening of berth 6. But what was going to happen today, it was really horrifying. And to perform this work, they had to remove the water from the opening of the pipe so that they could easily access the unused place. They set up a special cube-shaped structure called Habitat Well. This was an 8 by 8 feet cube structure, which was placed at the opening of berth 6. It was like a giant lid, which pushes the water from that area down to make dry space. And inside, the divers could safely work by removing their oxygen mask and diving gear. It became like a space explorer. But in the underwater, their to-do list was to remove this big inflatable plug near berth 6. Basically, this plug was a super tight seal, which was installed just 2 weeks ago, so that the oil inside the pipe remains safe and does not leak. But it was not easy to remove it, although they needed the range to do this. Kazim heads over to the other diver to fix the pipe, and then they dive down and reach the ledge and remove their diving gear. But here things take a different turn. As soon as they removed the inflatable plug, boom! The water came so fast that everyone was shocked, like a strange cyclone. All 5 people, including all their belongings, were instantly pulled into the pipe. Total chaos. They had no clue what was happening. They had no idea what was going to happen. By some stroke of luck, they landed a place where there was a small air pocket, where they could breathe. Thank goodness for that. Luckily, their GoPro camera captured that moment, just before going into the pipe, and then everything goes dark. Of course, you can hear these voices. They are screaming at each other out of fear, trapped in a pipe which is filled with crude oil and water. But the irony is that the air that was allowing them to breathe in the air pocket was the reason for all of them being pulled into the pipe. So actually, how did this happen? So see, supposedly, there should have been 1,200 gallons of oil in the pipe, but there was way less oil than that, and just below the inflatable plug, an air pocket was formed. Due to this, a differential pressure change occurred above the habitat bell and below the pipe. And this time, when they removed the inflatable plug, the habitat's air pressure pushes the water inside so fast that they don't even have time to think. The water immediately turns into tornadoes. And while rotating, it takes everyone inside the pipe. They stop and try to understand where they are trapped. And are all 5 of them alive? They scream and realize that luckily all 5 of them are alive. It is just so unbelievable. But it was a horrible reality as well. They didn't know where they were in the pipeline. They were confused. Actually, the pipe was way too long, 1,200 feet, like 4-foot wall ground. There were bumps and curves all over the pipe. And this was the spot where the air was trapped. Thankfully, they could breathe through it. But everyone was badly injured. They talked to get to the entrance of berth 6. But actually, no one knew in which direction they should go. After all discussion, they all hold each other's legs and form a group till the end and start moving forward one side. The entire pipe was filled with thick, oily sludge. They had to move in between. With their broken legs and hands, their eyes were burning due to the oil. And all this in complete darkness. Total darkness. After an hour of struggle, they face a big problem. The water level of the pipe was increasing, just like they were moving forward. And the one in the front notices that his face is just 6 inches below the pipe. And of course, he couldn't move forward like this. Some people were seriously injured, so it was very difficult for them to move forward. Chris Woodrum and Kazim Ali were in the front, so it is decided that only these two will move forward by holding their breath. Let's see if we get an air pocket ahead. And both of them promise everyone that they will definitely come back with the help of others. First of all, both of them breathe heavily, and then they enter the water. With multiple struggles, luckily both of them get another air pocket. Plus, they also get their scuba tanks, and now it felt like they got what they needed to get out. As they reached the next section, both of their oxygen tanks were almost used up, but the roads were not ending, and Kazim Ali was also seriously injured, so it was impossible for him to move forward. So both of them agree that only Chris Woodrum will move forward, with the remaining oxygen of Kazim Ali. And on top of that, he will get help from someone. Chris puts his scuba tank in front of him, and he starts moving forward in a 2.5 feet tube in the dark. And the way he was moving forward, he had only one tension in his mind, that the opening he is going to, what if he goes to the wrong place? What if he is not berth 6, but berth 5? Because in berth 5, that inflatable plug must have still been there. But it had come too far. Until now, he didn't even have oxygen left. It had been more than 2 hours of diving. And you know Chris was on the right path. As soon as he reaches the top, Chris hits the pipe and screams loudly so that someone notices him. And luckily, a searcher also notices him and takes him up. Chris was tired. He was fully exhausted. But he was also happy. And he also tells the others that all the 4 divers below him are heavily damaged. But they are all alive. They are breathing from the air pocket of the pipe. But Chris was thinking that they will all be saved easily. But no, he was wrong. All 4 divers were waiting for help in the pipe below. They were all thinking that the professionals and all the equipment will be on the ship, and there will be an R for them. Oxygen tanks, ropes, lights. Every hour they were just waiting impatiently to hear the sound of a light or a metal of an oxygen tank. With the pain of the injury, it was getting difficult to breathe in the oily air inside the pipe. The level of carbon dioxide was increasing inside the air pocket, and it was getting more and more challenging for them to breathe. Still, they were waiting, hoping that someone will come to save them. They were only 100 feet away from salvation. Struggling in pain and suffering, they hit the pipe. They try to create sound so that they can get the signal. They tried as much as they could to get out. But the truth was that no one came to save them. Yes, you heard it right. No one was going to save them. After 3 days, all 4 divers' dead bodies were finally taken out of the pipe. An autopsy shows that all 4 divers died at different times. Some were alive till Saturday, and some were alive till Monday. From the court investigation, it is found that when Chris gave the information that all 4 divers were alive, it had been several hours since the incident, and rescuers believed that the divers could not be alive for more than 2 hours in the pipeline. What if they had used the oxygen tank? Plus, further investigation also shows that Perrier Company did not have a viable plan for rescue to get the divers out safely, and in fact, they actively stopped the rescuers from going inside, saying that the mission is very dangerous, and it is not a good idea to put more people's lives at risk. It's ridiculous. Some rescuers also claimed that they also got the signal of the divers being alive from the pipe below. They heard the sound of metal hitting for 48 hours, and then the sound stopped coming after that. Although this is highly debatable, because some say that they heard the sounds, and some say that they did not hear the sounds. Everyone has their own versions, but one thing is clear in this. When Chris Woodrum came out of the pipeline and gave the information to everyone, then all the divers were alive. That's all I remember. I didn't even remember actually getting pulled in the pipe. I just remember getting pulled through the pipe at unbelievable speeds. I couldn't hold my breath no longer. Truth. When you're holding your breath for too long after a while, your body, your lungs just fight. Your airways close. You hear a noise. Your body is suffering to pull air. An unbelievable nightmare. Your eyes burning. Every time you try to open your eyes, it's burning. You're pitch black. You can't see nothing. Your throat burning. Your ears ringing. Your body sore. And at that point, I tell myself I was going to die. Sir, yeah, I'm here. I'm right behind you. Huh? I'm 35. I'm 35 too. I'm right behind you. I'm trying to come up. Chris, turn around. Sir. Yeah. Chris. Yeah, I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you. You're right behind me, huh? I feel a noise. I hear it. I feel a noise. Come on. I can't look at you. I have a problem. I have a problem. I have a sound problem. I remember a bit. Chris. I hear a noise. I hear a noise.